When you're a competitive athlete, you learn very quickly how strong you are or how energetic you are, all of those things. But it could very well be that there's a lot of people who have an equally as good a body as you have, that performs just as well, that is as muscular, let's say in bodybuilding, there's exactly the same kind of proportions in all of those things. So the question really is what puts you over the top? It is the mind that really creates the body. It's the mind that makes you really work out the 4 or 5 hours a day. It is the mind that visualizes of what the body ought to look like as the finished product.
Hello everybody. For the last 2 years, I've been doing exhibitions like this all over California in various institutions and prisons and hospitals and so on. And I've been having a great time, and it's a very satisfying thing for me to do, to spend one day every month to come to one of those places and to help the guys with their training and so on.
When I used to do seminars on how to become a champion, I would always ask people, why do you want to be a champion? Or what do you want to accomplish? Why are you training? And they will, if a guy will get up and he will say, well, I want to train because I think that if I get muscular and I feel like I'm getting the kind of definition, then I maybe can enter a bodybuilding competition. I said, sit down. I said, if you think this way, you're going to be a loser. You're never going to make it because there's no maybe. You got to get up and say, I want to be a champion. And I do whatever it takes, the amount of hours it takes, the posing, the this, the that, the visualization, looking at training footage, looking at motivational books, reading this, reading, whatever it takes, I would do. That's the answer I want to hear from you. You can detect right away those that are going to be shaky and that will fall behind and they will not go all the way, and those that are very hungry. And that hunger you have to develop because you have to create a goal for yourself, whatever that may be, a short-term goal and a long-term goal, and you got to go after that. And if you do not see it, and if you do not believe it, who else will? The body is very important, but the mind is more important than the body. You have to visualize what that body ought to look like in order to make it win, because that's what creates then the will that you need to go to the gym every day. The will that makes you go into the 4 reps, the will that makes you go beyond when you do your 500-pound reps in the squats and you can't do another rep and your body is shaking. It's the will that makes you go one more time down and struggle up one more time. And so it's all of this, so the mental aspect that motivates you and that makes the difference between you being in the gym full of joy and looking forward to doing that extra rep and looking forward to doing those extra 100 reps in the sit-ups and working past the pain barriers. That all is the mind. That's not the body. So this is why I think the body is very important, but the mind is more important than the body.
This great single-mindedness that people admired. He was able to concentrate on one area. Wrestling was all he cared about.
He literally ran the class every day, and he always had ankle weights on his ankles, and he always had a rope in his hand, and he'd sit in class and he'd do isometrics during class. And he didn't just do that once. I mean, that's the way he was.
I went to a movie with him once or twice, and he'd usually leave because he wanted to go work out. You're sitting there engrossed in the movie, and all of a sudden Dan will hit you and say, I gotta go.
There was a point in his life where I would have, if somebody were to ask me about Dan, I'd say he's socially retarded. He didn't have a social life.
He was so shy, he wouldn't talk to any girls, and we would always get him on campus, and we would run up and start telling everybody, this is Dan Gable. You guys know he's the most famous wrestler, and he would literally run away and hide.
Finally, in my senior year in college, I actually took a gal out, and I looked at my clock when I got home. It was like 3 a.m., and I had a running practice lined up at 7. And I didn't feel good at that running practice. I was tired all day. That just solidified my mind that it wasn't going to work. And something had to give.
What Gable understood about wrestling is that it's the cruelest mistress in the world. It required all your attention, all your time, all your focus.
Sometimes people who are focused, people say, gee, that person ought to get a life. But his life and his dedication was wrestling.
I don't think Dan Gable physically should have ever accomplished what he did. He made himself into probably the greatest wrestler this country has ever had.
He who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right. Being realistic is the most commonly traveled road to mediocrity. Why would you be realistic? What's the point of being realistic?
Just put up a barrier.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. It's done. It's already done. The second I decide it's done, it's already done. It's now we just got to wait for y'all to see.
It's unrealistic to walk in a room and flip a switch and lights come on. That's unrealistic. Fortunately, Edison didn't think so. It's unrealistic to think you're going to bend a piece of metal and fly people over an ocean in that metal. That's unrealistic. But fortunately, the Wright brothers and others didn't believe that. And it just seems like such a ridiculous idea to me to embrace the idea that it's not going to happen and that's not real for that to happen. As soon as you say it, now you just made that real. Our thoughts, our feelings, our dreams, our ideas are physical in the universe. That if we dream something, if we picture something, if we commit ourselves to it, that is a physical thrust towards realization that we can put into the universe. That the universe is not a thing that's going to push us around. That the world and people and situations are not something that are going to push us around. That we are going to bend the universe and command and demand that the universe become what we want it to be.
I study the patterns of the universe. There's a redemptive power that making a choice has, you know, rather than feeling like you're at effect to all the things that are happening.
Here's my mindset. I'm done seeing these old guys wrestling. They've had their chances. So it's time for the new guys, the young guys. And the other thing is, you see interviews. I watch Simmons, I watch Hazewinkle, I watch Escobedo. All they ever talk about is winning a medal. They're satisfied with winning a medal. If you think I go overseas and just bring home bronze or silver, I'm gonna be satisfied, you're wrong. It's about winning gold, it's not just about winning a medal. You gotta want it all.
I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and I gave myself 5 years, or 3 years maybe, and I dated it Thanksgiving 1995, and I put it in my wallet and I kept it there, and it deteriorated and stuff, but then just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make $10 million on, I think it was Dumb and Dumber. Maybe.
Dumb and Dumber, yeah.
Dave Schultz, Palo Alto, California, technically one of the best in the world. Also, he's flamboyant. And we ask him about his approach to wrestling.
I'll tell you, I'm a Christian by faith, and I feel more than wrestling for the people that I want to totally use the ability that I've been given. You know, I don't want to win or lose regardless. I want to give it everything I've got. And if something's there, I want to do it. You know, that doesn't mean be stupid, but if I can hit 100 moves and blow the guy out by 12, I want to do it.
I'm just really excited to go compete again.
You know, the NCAA is just a whole different tournament. It's nothing like, you know, anything that you really experience during the year. So I'm just really excited for it, and I'm excited to get my 4th title.
It was awesome. You know, it's awesome to be here, have a big crowd. You know, it's going to be expected to be a big crowd in London. You know, so everything I do at this point is just preparation for where I want to be, where I want to go medal in London.
I accomplished everything, and I went through all the factors in getting at this stage, and I'm here at the right particular time, and I'm going to fight for the title and win.
My New Year's revolution is to knock out that big ugly bear, shake up the whole world in 1964, and talk no more.
To win a world championship would be one of the most humbling and I guess the most exciting things that I've ever been through, especially in a city that has never won it.
When I got that medal, it made me feel like I was on top of the world. And I realized then that the only medal that could be better would be the Olympic gold, and that's what I'm shooting for.